everything in the universe is vibrating. Even light is vibrating. Different frequencies of vibration give us the different colors, just like different frequencies of vibration give us the different notes in an octave of sound. The so-called 5 physical senses, touch, smell, hearing, taste, and sight, are all biological sensors that, for the most part, detect vibration in different ways. While smell doesn't directly sense a vibration, it is directly sensing physical objects in the air that have different vibrational parameters. Each sense perceives vibrations within specific, limited frequency bands. For example, through the sense of hearing, most people perceive vibrational frequencies in the 20 to 20,000 cycle per second range. We call that sound. The eyes pick up much faster vibrations that we call light. But these 5 biological sensors we use only pick up a very, very small part of the infinite vibrational frequency spectrum. There are other frequency bands that the 5 senses cannot perceive, which puts a big hole in our information about what is really there. And for most people, this very limited data from the 5 sensors is the only thing that allows them to be in touch with the world around them. We are, for the most part, virtually blind in this universe. Humans have built machines that pick up some of the vibrations we can't get with our 5 senses. These machines translate what they pick up into the range that we can get with one of our senses. For instance, our eyes don't pick up on X-rays, they only see the slower vibrating visible light range. So we made X-ray machines that take pictures to show us the result of using the X-rays on a film that we can see with visible light. Can you imagine being able to see such things as X-rays and gamma rays all the time? Radio waves are also in the vibrational frequency band that is not within the range of any of our senses. The circuitry in a radio or TV changes these vibrations to frequencies of vibration our senses of sight and hearing can perceive. There are many other things that we do not normally perceive. But all of these things, and much, much more, are available for us to perceive when we transcend the limits of our separate self. Even the most solid physical objects are but atoms, and the parts' energy they are composed of vibrating at various rates, in various arrangements. These vibratory rates and arrangements of atoms are perceived by us, through one or more of the very limited 5 senses of an earthly human body. We then process this sensory information, and in our limited consciousness, perceive these atom groups as the things that make up the world we live in, the things that are all around us: TVs, cars, carpets, skin, air, you name it. What we think all these things are is the result of the warped assumptions our brain makes, the assumption being based on the very limited data we get from our senses about a certain arrangement and frequency of vibration of atoms. And atoms are just a building block of the same one thing, the stuff of the universe. Thus, everything we think we see is really just an illusion, not its true form, just a conceptual form created by our brain. We put together an image or idea of what we think we are perceiving, by virtue of our programming, expectations, experiences, etc., manipulating the bits of information we get from our highly limited senses. When you see the movement or vibration in a solid object, like you were just talking about, whatever it is you are seeing is because your consciousness is expanding beyond its limitations, and you are glimpsing a bit more of reality. So our consciousness and our limited senses really create a perceptual handicap. It's even worse than that. We are already starting with the great handicap of perceiving such a small part of the world around us. Then, to make matters worse, we process that information through the filters of our emotions and preconceptions. This all leaves us with a very inaccurate illusion of reality. And just a little change in the frequency of the vibration of atoms, how fast or slow they vibrate in a molecule group of atoms, can completely change our perception of what it is. For example, we know the slower vibrating molecules of H2O as ice, a solid. As the frequency of vibration increases, we know them as water, a liquid; faster still, as steam; faster yet, as hydrogen and oxygen gas. Then as vibrational frequency increases, a more etheric quality develops. Something may even seem to vanish like steam, but nothing is ever lost in the universe, it just changes form. Sometimes the apparent form is changed by atoms joining groups molecules, or what I like to call atomic cults. But regardless of how they are arranged, or how they appear, the true reality of it all is that it's always the same one energy vibrating at different frequencies. Looking to outer space, you find countless stars, suns like the star of the solar system, with planets of their own in orbit. Constantly moving, vibrating, they follow the same universal laws of all, as does the atom, the microcosmic solar system. Indeed, anywhere we look in life, be it outer space, or inner space, everything is either atoms or solar systems. They are like octaves of the same thing, micro-macrocosms. There is nothing else. What is a building? A tree? They, and anything else that seems to be something else, are but an assembly of atom solar systems. I can't emphasize the significance of this enough. It is one of the most important facts there is, and understanding its full meaning is one of the great keys to understanding the universe, and our lives. What are these other great keys? The next great key can also be seen with atoms and solar systems. It is their orbital pattern, their orbital relationship. It is the one primary pattern that exists in the universe. It pervades everything, and all else is built upon it. It is what our human male-female relationships are based on. It is what makes soulmates, soulmates. But aren't orbits separate things amongst separate solar systems or atoms? How could it be what everything in the universe is built upon? And how could it be what human relationships are based on? Look into space at night. Each shining star you see is either a Sunday, an object radiating light, that is surrounded by and orbited by planets, or a planet, giving off light reflected from the light of a star. Study what scientists have discovered about the solid objects that surround us: water, trees, buildings, stones, earth, plants, human bodies. They are all made of atoms. And what are atoms? Microscopic stars being orbited by planets, but very tiny, and very, very rapidly. They are an octave of the stars and our own solar system. Read the ancient texts. We have had this knowledge long before the ignorant masses discovered that the earth wasn't flat. Before they discovered that the earth wasn't the center of the universe. Before they discovered that the earth revolved around the Sunday, rather than what they previously thought, that the Sunday revolved around the earth. Before they discovered atoms. Soon they will discover more, and more. Consider, what if everything is orbiting something else? What if when you get smaller than atoms, and bigger than solar systems, the same, or similar, circular orbital pattern is found? It does in some way or another, even though they haven't discovered it yet. What if it goes on infinitely like a never-ending spiral? It must. It is the pattern of creation, of the universal spirit. If you contemplate it for a while, the pattern of an atom or solar system is, in a sense, the only reality. It is the primary form of life in the universe. This pattern is the basis of the building blocks of our illusions. And what is it comprised of? This amazing, all-pervasive pattern consists of individual parts functioning as one. This oneness is achieved by virtue of the nature of the polarities of the individual parts, plus minus, male-female. Electrons of an atom are like the planets of a solar system. They are oppositely charged, the opposite sex to the nucleus of an atom, and they are attracted to each other just as the planets and Sunday of a solar system are. The polarized parts flow together in a particular way that is dictated by universal law. The pattern is orbital because of the nature of polarized relationships in space. There is always a center, a central sphere that gives, that flows out energy, and attracts, and that central object is surrounded by objects that are attracted to, and attach themselves to, the center object. In the case of a solar system, the Sunday is the set of it all the planets revolve around. In the case of an atom, the nucleus is the set of it all the electrons revolve around. They are the same thing. The outer object's electrons or planet's momentum, their speed as they travel through space, becomes a circular movement once they are attracted to and attached to their central object, the Sunday, a star, or a nucleus. That movement is cyclic. In other words, it keeps orbiting around and around at a certain speed, repeating its cycle in a given period of time. Thus a vibrational occurrence is created of cycles per something second, day, year, whatever. In the case of the Earth orbiting the Sunday, it is one cycle per year. In the case of other planets it is faster or slower. In the case of atoms, it is very, very fast and different for each atom. Taking this a step further, what if everything is orbiting something, which is also orbiting something else? Then all of them function as one. And a complex vibrational pattern exists. They each link up with all other objects, becoming a part of their flow and one with them. In the entirety of the universe, all things are interconnected as one in this way. And the basis of all this is the universal pattern we see exemplified so perfectly in the atom or star systems. It follows and reflects universal law perfectly. This pattern flows in perfect harmony with universal order. I am beginning to understand. But I still don't understand the relationship it has to human relationships. What if this form, this pattern, represents the relationships of beings? What if each atom is a conscious being composed of soulmate beings? What if each solar system is a conscious being composed of soulmate beings? Each planet and Sunday is a being, in and of itself, that make one being together. What if every being plays two roles, like both parent and child at the same time, surrendering to something, and directing something? What if every star is both in and outflowing, positive polarity, directing position to its planets, but also is like a planet to something else that it orbits? What if the planets are taking a receptive, negative polarity, surrendering posture, to a sun, but are functioning like a sun to something else that orbits it, or is affected by it? According to the teachings, and my personal realizations, all of the above is true. Many, many things can be learned and understood by contemplating the above concept. Contemplation of this pattern has guided the understanding of masters, in all matters of universal and earthly life, and thus can also provide the contemplative seeker with profound answers. Truly understanding the meaning of this pattern, and applying it to human life, can provide the deepest understanding of the nature of men and women, and male-female relationships. It is the perfect pattern of the harmonious interaction of polar opposites. Thus, with contemplation, it can show us the way to have perfect relationships, helping us achieve perfectly harmonious interaction with our own soul mates, and other humans.